Yeah, the men would actually follow him though. You know what I'm saying? Because you got dudes in there that's real zealots. You know what I'm saying? You know that would actually would want to be men. You know what I'm saying? If he would allow them to. That's a fucked up situation. Shalom. We are the I.S.U.P.K. coming out of 1 West on the 25th Street, Harlem, New York, at the Commander GEN.YAHANNA. And today, we're going to go into history. How the fake Jews ended up becoming Jews, right? Right. And the curses that, you know, that set that thing in play. And it's funny because without our permission, a lot of them would not even be fake Jews. You see what I'm saying? Without our permission, because what do? First thing we want to do, just like what we be doing now, when we find out we Israelites, first thing we want to do is go save everybody else. Well, we had the same mindset even back then too. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to prove that. Let's go to Matthew chapter 23 and verse 15. As a matter of fact, we're gonna start at 13. As a matter of fact, so people get a good feel out of what's going on here. Matthew chapter 23 and verse 13. But woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye shut up the kingdom of heaven against men. Yeah, that's what they do right there. And what do they do? What type of, we got to look at this in today's time too. You know what I'm saying? Black men. You know what I'm saying? That's them street black men. What do? They shut the kingdom of heaven up to them. When the street black man is actually more righteous than the black man that's inside the church. But what do they do to them? They shut them out of the kingdom. You see what I'm saying? The gang member. He is even more righteous than the man that's inside that Christian church. It just is what it is. The gang member might slay 3 people in his life, maybe. But that Christian church, that deacon, he slays many. He slays many. He destroys families. He does all of that. You see what I'm saying? That's what people don't. They look at the news. People look at the news, and they see the gangbanger. But at least one thing about the gangbanger, he has some sense of brotherhood at least. So when he comes into the truth, he at least has that type of understanding. Even though he was wicked as hell out there in the world, you know what I'm saying? He has that type of understanding at least of brotherhood. So it transitions. If his heart is sincere, it transitions pretty good. But that Christian man, he has no real sense of brotherhood at all. And he ended up becoming worse enemy than that gangbanger dude.
Right.
The gangbanger dude, his whole, when he comes up against the truth, a lot of the times it's just out of frustration. Because he's been taught this and he's been taught that, but, and then he sees, the brotherhood that's inside his, He see the brotherhood that's inside his gang, and in his mind he's thinking, because something's natural with him, because he's like, people are supposed to be in brotherhood. But he goes to that Christian church and it's none of that. The pastor sleeping with the deacon's wife and all of that. So now when he sees people that's actually in the truth, his mind is confused. And now he's angry with a misplaced anger that should be on the white man and should be on that Christian church, but instead what it ends up doing is it falls on us. The white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of. All right, we're going back to the scriptures. Matthew chapter 23, verse 15. But woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye compass sea and land to make one proselyte. What is a proselyte? A proselyte is someone that they sit there and take and say, okay, you can be a Jew up under us. Just like what the Jewish man tries to do today. What he tries to do, he tries to proselytize blacks and Hispanics.
Right.
But he's not the Jew. But that same thing is what the real Jews actually was doing during the time of Christ. Proselytizing heathens. You see what I'm saying? And making them, trying to make them Jews. Trying to willfully graft them in out of self-will. But woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye compass sea and land to make one proselyte. What do? They'll travel to Africa. The same thing that certain groups are doing now. Going and traveling to Africa to make one proselyte. But at the same time, here's the funny thing about it, because they won't even go to the projects to proselytize nobody. Ain't that something? They will go, all the way to Ghana. They'll go to, but they won't go to the projects, and if they do go to the projects, the only thing that they try to do, they try and make merchandise out of the people that's in the projects so that they can receive money to give to, to someone over in Africa. Now we all know about it. We know about a certain group that actually does that. Take all the resources from blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians and give it, and then go over to Africa and buy them TVs. Things like that. And when he is made, ye make him twofold more the child of hell than yourselves. Woe unto you, ye blind guides, which say, whosoever shall swear by the temple, it is nothing. But whosoever shall swear by the gold of the temple, he is a debtor. Because what did they go for? They going actually for money, for gain. And they want to be pleasing to the oppressor. Now this stuff is not new. So when you see fake Israelite groups, running to Africa and all of that, they having the same spirit as what they had right here in Matthew. It's the same spirit. They go by sea, but then here's the thing about it. Just like in this time, the Jews that were in Jerusalem in the ghettos, they really didn't care nothing for them. They were just using them to get rich, so that they can take themselves over to Africa and do things for Africa because of the tax. You get the tax write-offs and certain benefits, by going to Africa. They doing it for that purpose. And then that's one of the reasons why that certain sister ended up getting killed, because they married her to one of those dudes, and they still can't find that sister's body to this day. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, we got to understand that the white man's the devil. And anybody that's in league with him like that, they the devil too. All right. Now what we're going to do is, and it's another way that they come in, that they, have took our identity and everything also. When we go into Esther chapter 8 and verse 17, we're going to go into that. Esther chapter 8 and verse 17. As a matter of fact, we're going to go before that just so people can get a feel out of what's going on. At this time, we have wars. During the time of the king of Persia, and then during the time of Mordecai, we have wars with the heathens that were round about us because they sought to destroy us, but the Most High turned the thing around. All right. We're gonna start at about let's see. As a matter of fact, we're gonna start at verse 1. All right, Esther chapter 8, verse 1. On that day did the king Ahasuerus give the house of Haman the Jews' enemy unto Esther the queen. And Mordecai came before the king, before Esther, and told what he was unto her.
It's like if you could, garment, it could be more, catch more attention.
So you put the garment on?
Yeah, you got the black and brown one.
And more the brown one.
Yeah, throw that one on real quick. It help the. We'll be right back. Give it 1 second. Yeah, keep it double time too.
Verse 2. Esther chapter 8, verse 2. And the king took off his ring, and he had taken from Haman, and gave it to Mordecai. And Esther set Mordecai over the house of Haman. Means everything that Haman owned, now Mordecai had it.
Right.
And Esther spake yet again before the king, and fell down at his feet, and besought him with tears to put away the mischief of Haman the Agagite. Now, who are these Agagites? The Agagite is the seed royal of Amalek. Now, this the people that call themselves Jews today. He was one of them. And his device that he had devised against the Jews. Then the king held out the golden scepter toward Esther. So Esther arose and stood before the king and said, if it please the king, and I found favor in his sight, and a thing seemed right before the king, and I be pleasing in his eyes.
Right.
Let it be written to reverse the letters devised by Haman. Because Haman was so slick and so crafty that what he actually did was, he was able to get the king's signet on the letters that he wrote to destroy the Jews.
Right.
And the thing about it, with a king, back then, people tell lies at Congress tables and all of that today, but back in the days, you couldn't do that. You couldn't decree a thing and then go back on that thing. Once you put that and you put your seal on that, that was done.
Right.
That was that. You know what I'm saying? That's the difference between like a king and a president and democracies and all of that we deal with today. They change their mind. They'll make one law and then change their mind next month. But back then it wasn't so. You know what I'm saying? So the king was pretty grieved behind this. So the king was pretty grieved behind this, because he had already authorized this thing himself.
Right.
And if I will, going back into history with King James, that's why the King James Bible and the Apocrypha are the only books that have authorized King James Version on it.
Right.
Because things were authorized by kings. Something that was authorized by a king was solid. So people can say what they want about the King James all they want. You see what I'm saying? And all the fake books, all the books like the Book of Enoch and all of that stuff, that does not have that on it. That does not have authorized on it. The only two books is the Bible and the Apocrypha that actually even have authorized King James Version on it.
Right.
So what does that mean? That means everything else was not authorized by a king. You see what I'm saying? Because, kings could not lie. They couldn't make false decrees.
Right.
Because if they did, then, that's like, what is it called? If I will, Kevin, ain't that called the Uniform Commercial Code?
Right.
There's certain global laws that you can't break.
Right.
Like, say for instance, if you order 100,000 TVs from China or Korea or something, 100,000 Samsung products.
Right.
If Samsung is Korean and you order that, you have to get it. You see what I'm saying? They have to deliver. Even dope. You order dope from Cuba or wherever you get it, Colombia or whatever the hell you get it from, they have to deliver it. That is a global code and a global law, even if the thing is illegal. That's why, when I was in the world, there was laminated dope with barcodes on it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You have to deliver that thing. You know what I'm saying? So just like that, a king's word, he could not go back on it like that. You see what I'm saying? He could not go back on his word. He had to do that's the reason why, the king here of Persia is going through this type of situation right here. And that's the same reason why Darius, during the time of Daniel.
Right.
Daniel had to go to the lion's den.
Right.
Even though the king didn't want it. But they, the counselors, took craft and everything and, and and persuade the king's hand. They was diligent in their craftiness, and he ended up, authorizing something that he really didn't want to authorize, but the thing had to go forth. It had to go forth. Okay, verse 5. And said, if it please the king, and I have found favor in his sight, and the thing the thing seem right before the king, and I be pleased in his eyes. Let it be written to reverse the letters devised by Haman, the son of Hammedatha the Agagite, which he wrote, to destroy the Jews which are in all the king's provinces. The Most High had to step in.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There's counsel in heaven. Because the Most High knows that certain things wasn't right here. You know what I'm saying? And there's a scripture that says, he who rolleth the stone, it shall return upon him. You know what I'm saying? Haman rolled the stone when he tried to have us taken out.
Right.
But as the law says, as what the Most High said, he who rolleth the stone, it shall return upon him. Return upon his own head.
And if I could, it's heavy because also the scriptures say we will have war with Amalek for generation to generation. So this is all was, Amalek is going to keep doing this forever, and we're going to always be at odds with them.
Right.
We're supposed to be. The Lord has commanded already.
That is heavier than a damn, than a bag of lead pipes what Captain just brought out right there. Because that's the reason why the Most High told us also too, when we be at peace, when the kingdom is established and we're at peace, to remember what Amalek did.
Right.
And to set everything in battle. When we setting back, you know what I'm saying, in the glory of the Lord, we setting back, drinking the wine and drinking strong and having feast of lambs and all of that, that's when it's supposed to pop in our head.
Right.
Right then, when we're doing that. To take him the hell out. And that's what the Lord said for us to do when the kingdom is established. You see what I'm saying? To think about that. Put our minds upon that. Of course, the Most High, he's going to do the work. But what we just got to do is just remember what he did, and set ourselves, together. The Most High is going to put that man out of the way. You see what I'm saying? All right. Which he wrote to destroy all the Jews which are in all the king's provinces. Look, this is the same thing that they're doing nowadays. They're doing the same thing right now. Because, they know where, what are they doing? They're diligently finding out where we're at all over the earth. And what are they doing? They making us, that's what they call, what is called propaganda today. There was propaganda back then too. That's why he wrote those letters saying there's a malicious people that are evil, that don't want to obey the laws of the king, that don't want to do this, that don't want to do that. Right? That's what they're doing. That's what they were doing back then, and it's the same thing that they're doing now. Because how do they do it now? They do it through the television now. Because they control all the social media.
Right.
They control all the social media, and what is their message? The message is the same thing. There's a certain malicious people out there that have laws that are contrary to all the laws of the earth. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
That's what they do. It's the same thing. It's the same thing that they were doing back then. They're doing now the same thing. They're just doing it a different way. They're doing it more in a modern fashion. That's it. That's the difference. Or how can I endure to see the evil that shall come unto my people? Or how can I endure to see the destruction of my kindred? Then the king Ahasuerus said unto Esther the queen, and to Mordecai the Jew, Behold, I have given Esther the house of Haman, and him they have hanged on the gallows, because he laid his hand upon the Jews. Write ye also for the Jews as it liketh you. Now notice, who was the top enemy here? It was Haman. Haman and his people. Because Haman was also a Macedonian too. And what was Haman's job? What was he trying to do? He was trying to translate the kingdom, the rulership on the face of the planet, the rulership on the earth during that time, from the Medo-Persian Empire unto the Greeks. That's what his job actually was. the Medes and the Persians were actually going down, and the Greeks were coming up. Write ye also for the Jews as liketh you, in the king's name, and seal it with the king's ring. For the writing which is written in the king's name and sealed with the king's ring may no man reverse. Then were the king's scribes called at the time in the 3rd month, that is, the month of Sivan, on the 23rd day thereof. And it was written according to all that Mordecai commanded unto the Jews, and to the lieutenants, and to the deputies, and rulers in the provinces which were from India unto Ethiopia, and 127 provinces unto every province according to the writing thereof. Now, 127 provinces, that was the known world. That was the known world at that time, because this part of the world wasn't known yet. So you talk about the whole world, 127 provinces, because that's what the king was. He was at the top. He was the top king on the face of the planet. And to every people after their language, and to the Jews according to their writing, and according to their language. And he wrote in the king Ahasuerus' name, and sealed it with the king's ring, and sent letters by post on horseback, and rulers and riders like their own mules, camels, and young dromedaries. Means they sent it out, you know what I'm saying, in the mail, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Wherein the king granted the Jews which were in every city to gather themselves together, and to stand for their life, to destroy and to slay, and to cause to perish all the power of the people and province that would assault them. So we had the commandment, man, this is how the Most High worked for us, you know what I'm saying? This is how the Most High worked out for us. To where the king on the earth said, you know, y'all need to just assemble yourselves. Y'all need to just assemble yourselves and go ahead and handle y'all's business, you know, because they seek to take y'all out. Y'all got to fight for y'all's lives now. What was he saying? He was saying separate. And province that would assault them, both little ones and women, and to take the spoil of them for a prey. Upon one day in the province of King Ahasuerus, namely upon the 13th day of the 12th month, which is the month of Dar, the copy of the writing for a commandment to be given in every province, published unto all people.
Right.
And that the Jews will be ready against the day to avenge themselves upon their enemies. And who was our enemies? Our enemies was the whole known world. Just like today. It's no different. All the heathen nations are our enemies. even the Medo-Persians, who were, you know, on our side at this time, are our enemies today, because they made transgressions against us also. That's why we're not supposed to get with any heathens, you know, even if it's them or whatever the case is. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, how you gonna make a covenant with a people that have destroyed yours and their blood was never atoned? You're not supposed to ever do that. So the post that rode upon mules and camels went out, being hastened and pressed on by the king's commandment. And the decree was given at Shushan the palace. And Mordecai went out from the presence of the king in royal apparel of blue and white, and with a great crown of gold, and with a garment of fine linen and purple. And the city of Shushan rejoiced and was glad. And the Jews had light and gladness and joy and honor. Hey, I'll tell you one thing. in history, when we was joyful fighters, we was always at our best then. You know what I'm saying? And that's the reason even today why we be like, in sports, we be showboating and all of that. You know what I'm saying? When we are joyful and we fighting in joyfulness, well, nobody can beat us. You know what I'm saying? And if the Lord is with us. But that's one of the reasons why people can't understand why we showboat, because even when we went into war, with joy, with confidence, We went with all of that. We was the type of people, we'd go into, we wore our glorious apparel. We wore our glorious apparel into the battle. We'd go into a damn battle sea walking. You know what I'm saying? Doing some type of dance or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's the type of people.
Like Floyd Mayweather.
Right.
Or Muhammad Ali.
Right. That's what we did. That was the type of people that we were then. And we just that type of people today. That's one of the reasons why in like boxing and sports like in MMA, and they call it showboating, and he's prideful and he's this and he's that, because something inside their spirit. Remember a time when we did that and beat they behinds, you know what I'm saying, and dog walked every army, you know what I'm saying, they came up against us. They something inside their spirit remembers that. You know what I'm saying? All right. The Jews had light and gladness and joy and honor, and in every province and in every city, whithersoever the king's commandment and his decree came, the Jews had joy and gladness, a feast and a good day. And many of the people of the land, became Jews.
Right.
How did they become? They started to become Jews out of fear, because they were afraid. So that's one of the reasons why, how they at this time, and now think about it, this is going through 127 provinces. They became Jews, and then a lot of them, what they did, they tried to hold on to the title. Right. Because when after this, when we started to go into sin. And it's, like I always say, every trickle starts a flood.
Right.
Now, they become the Jews, and we become, blacks, Hispanic, Latino, Chicano. We become, named after countries. We just become a people with no identity at all.
Right, and if I could, what people underestimate, probably the most important question on the whole face of the earth for black people, or for any people, period, who are the real Jews?
Right.
That's the most important question.
Right.
Who are the real Jews? Jews they're the ones who had a relationship with the Most High to show the world righteousness.
Right.
So that's the biggest question. Who are the real Jews? If you can't answer that, you can't help black people.
Right. Very, very, very true. And with that whole question of who's the real Jews, because if you can say that the real Jews is somebody else that do abominable practices and all of that, you can't say nothing against them. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You can't say anything against them. So that's the reason why the Jewish man, they can, the rabbis can chew the foreskin off a little baby's penis. Who can say anything?
All right.
Because he's a Jew. These are people that God had a relationship with, so you can't question it.
Right.
That's the reason why everybody wants to have that title, because what they do is they'll take on that, religion along with just like the Ethiopians. The Ethiopians are, say for instance, we'll start with the Jewish man. His real book is the Kabbalah and the Talmud, but he posed himself as which those books are books of witchcraft and sorcery, because that's who they are. They're sorcerers.
Right.
So if he can have that, but then still have that label, then you can't question the Talmud and the Kabbalah, because look, those are God's people. The Ethiopians, they worship, that and Krishna. So with their abominable practices, they can sit there and drink blood and all of that. And what can you say? I mean, that's just, and you thinking in your mind, that that's got to be holy right there. What they're doing, it's got to be holy. And they do all these abominable customs and practices, which is in their what would I call them, code doctrines? Right. You know what I'm saying? And I'll say they're real doctrines. But you can't say anything. And if you do say anything, then the world's going to call you anti-Semitic. Well, hell, some of them ain't even of the seed of Shem, the Hamites, eh?
Right.
But they slap that label, and what do people do? They get afraid. You don't want to be called that. And they associate you with some type of Nazi. You're a Negro Nazi.
Right.
And people do not want that any type of label like that on them, so they just shrink back in fear and don't say anything.
Right.
And they will even attack somebody else that actually would say anything about it. Because these people have the label slapped upon them as being God's people. Mm-hmm. That's a mean trick right there, you know what I'm saying?
Somebody said, Dexter Hoskins asked, aren't we the real Jews? Is the tribe of Judah the Jews?
Okay. Now, one thing with understanding the title...
He's a Jake.
Oh, okay. One thing with understanding the title Jew, right? Jew at that time, the Jew, actually, we weren't even really called that. We weren't called that. We were never called Jews, actually, until the Babylonian captivity. That's why you never see it before that. When you go into the scripture, you never see it. And what Jew actually meant at that time, a person that dwelt in Jerusalem. That's the reason why the people that lived in Europe and were born and raised in Europe and everything, even though they were Hebrews, were called, they weren't called Jews. They were called something else. They were called Gentiles. So when it comes to saving the Gentiles, who was the Gentiles that was supposed to be saved? They were actually physical seed of the Jews. They just wasn't born, they wasn't raised in Jerusalem. You see what I'm saying? The Apostle Paul was called a Jew because one thing, he was raised as a Pharisee, even though he wasn't born and raised inside Jerusalem. He was from Tarsus, which is southern Spain. But he grew up in the customs, of his forefathers still.
Right.
And that's why he was called that, Jew, just like you had the woman that was of the tribe of Asher, real old woman. But what was she called? She was called a Jew. You know what I'm saying? Jew, that term Jew is not even really specific to tribe because, hell, the heathens didn't even care about which tribe you were.
Right.
Just like you better get a bunch of brothers, you know what I'm saying? You go down to somewhere like, you go to New York, Miami, or something like that, and you got Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Ephraim, and all of them hanging together and everything. They're going to put us all under the same umbrella. You know what I'm saying? Right. And watch, and we're going to start to see this increase more and more as we, as everything starts to wind down, right? Was he going to say something?
Oh, yeah, somebody else said something on YouTube, Eleazar Guevara, he said, during the Hellenistic period, right, we were the Gentiles.
And that's true. And when the ones that lived off in Europe, that lived in, that lived all of these other places, because Jew ended up meaning a person that inhabited Jerusalem, and that's one of the reasons why we call the people that inhabit Jerusalem today Jews, because they live there. What is one of the things that they say about you? They say, "Well, you claim to be a Jew. Have you ever been to Jerusalem?" That's what the heathens say to you. Have you ever been to Jerusalem?
Right.
Have you ever been to, are you from there? Were you born there? They figure if you're not born there, you can't be that.
Dexter Hoskins said, so what's the name of our tribe? It's the Jake. It's the same Jake that asked the last question. So what's the name of our tribe?
Okay, there's 12 of them. There's 12 tribes. And, you look at the sons of Jacob, and they're all, they're named after that.
You can tell them go to Genesis chapter 49 or Genesis chapter 50. It lists all the tribes. And in Revelations chapter 7, I believe.
Right, and when the children were born. because the tribe is named after the fathers of the tribe. Like Issachar, Issachar was born like after Judah.
Right.
He was like, I think Issachar was like the fifth born. And the tribe that comes from him is called Issachar. The tribe of Judah is called Judah. It's just that simple. Tribe of Reuben, Simeon, so on and so forth. So I really, the brother was saying, which tribe do the nation of Israel? Is that what he?
He's saying, so what's the name of our tribe? Because he thought Jew meant Judah.
Oh, okay. Well, so we're called Judah. That's the name of our tribe.
Right.
As simple as that. He said the name. Brother, you said the name just right in the in your question.
Right.
Any more questions, sir?
He said, I know the scriptures and the tribes. I'm asking which tribe?
Okay, there's 12 tribes. Whichever one that he is, if he's a Caribbean brother, he's of the tribe of Benjamin.
Right.
If he's a brother from Haiti, you're of the tribe of Levi.
Right.
If you're a brother of Cuba, you're of the tribe of Manasseh. You're Puerto Rico, you're the tribe of Ephraim.
Right. We ain't got no 12 tribes chart here. I'll probably bring that next. Put it behind your head, as a poster on the wall, so people can know the 12. You'll see all the 12 tribes. Breakdowns on them.
So the nation that we're of is the nation of Israel. That's the question. Pretty much as a whole, right there. It seemed like that he was, kind of leading to that was. But it's still the same simple answer.
Right.
Any other questions, sir?
Not right now.
Okay.
But just know it's like a lag. So probably like 15 seconds after you say it, he gonna see it.
Oh, okay. And in every province, verse 17, and in every province and in every city, whatsoever the king's commandment and his decree came, the Jews had joy and gladness, a feast and a good day. And many of the people of the land became Jews. This is one thing that we got to understand too. While we on top, everybody's going to want to be one of us.
Right.
While we on the bottom and scrounging and fighting, and while we trying to get the truth out there and all of this and that, we looked at a certain way. But when we on top, everybody's going to want to pile in. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna, and that's why I talked about all the people who became Jews. We are the most influential people on the face of the planet. And actually us and the white man are, and it's always a war of influence between us. That's what when you look at the whole, when Mordecai had a dream about the two dragons, he said one was him and one was Haman. Mordecai represented, his dragon was Israel, and that Haman's dragon was Esau. Because we are the two most influential people on the face of the earth. But when we on top, everybody want to be one of us. Just like if the white man's on top, what does everybody want to do? Everybody want to be white.
Right.
It's just that simple, So our people want to be white. Our women run around with blonde hair. But hell, when we on top, everybody going to want an afro. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's just that simple. But at the same time, the person's a heathen. They are not one of us. They should be separated to their people. You see what I'm saying? They can wear their afros in their own, land.
So he said something else. Dexter Hoskins said, right, the brother from Haiti is a Haitian brother, from Jamaica is a Jamaican. What tribe are we, African Americans, is what I'm asking. And if that tribe is Judah, we would be considered Jewish, right? Not African American. That's two continents.
No, we wouldn't be considered Jewish. We'd be considered Judah.
Right.
That's what we'd be considered. You see what I'm saying? We would be considered the tribe of Judah, not Jewish. Because for one thing, if we going at it like that, a lot of the white men that say that they're Jews, what do the rabbis say? They say they of the tribe of Levi. That's what they say. You know what I'm saying? Which that wouldn't if it was like that, then they couldn't say that they were Jews. But they do though, don't they? Right. They say that. They say that they're Jews regardless of which, and then they say that the Ethiopians are of the tribe of Dan, but they still call them Jewish. That just like the old teachings, the term Jewish means like unto, but not quite that. Ish, that's where the ish comes from, black-ish. It's just like that show, Blackish. One of the women that play in the show is not even black. She just got a good tan. She got a white father, a Jewish father, and a black mother. She come from the seed of a white man.
Right.
So she's black-ish, and they named the show after that.
Right. You could also scoot over just his hair this way. Just the hair. Yes. Yeah, good. Perfect. No other questions right now. Okay. Just one brother said on YouTube, 360C's 2021 says, I've been thinking about joining the I.S.U.P.K.
Well, it's time to stop thinking, it's time to do. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing that brothers, as men, we got to understand. If we know that this is where we need to be, it's not time to think anymore. There's a time to think and there's a time to act.
Right.
And this is the time for you to go ahead and act. And to do what, you know what I'm saying, you know that this is the home of the truth. That's why you've been thinking about it. But there's something that you figure that's holding you back, and actually it's Satan. Because he knows that you're going to be something strong inside this truth. So right. What is he going to do? He's going to try and hinder you in every way that he can. You know what I'm saying? So what you need to do, just act now. It's time to act. It's time to execute. There's a time to plan things out, and there's a time to just go straight in and start to execute. And that time is now for you.
Right. Another brother said, I always support the black Hebrew Israelites over the fake Khazars.
Well, that would actually be natural right there. Right. Everybody's supposed to support their own race. That's natural. Just like the Chinese man, he's gonna, he will support his own, the Korean man, the Arab man. But see, what you got to do now is you got to take it up a notch before that. A notch above that. It's time for you to really start to go in now. You can't just stay stuck at, I just support, them over the fake Khazars. The fake Khazars are your enemies. Right, so there shouldn't even be like this competition inside your mind between, the Hebrew Israelites and them. It shouldn't be that.
Right.
They should be thrown out in the garbage can in your mind.
Right.
And the Hebrew Israelites should be the only thing standing, and then you got to filter between them, and you got to start to think, where did the truth start to come from? Where did the truth spring from? And then come back to that. Because, just being a Hebrew Israelite, joining some Hebrew Israelite, that's not going to be good enough.
Right.
What you got to do is find out where you need to be. Where did all of this start at? That's where you got to be. That's where all the fake Israelite dudes are supposed to be. Where they're supposed to be but are not is where you're supposed to be. And that's with the I.S.U.P.K.
Another brother said, Allah is to be worshipped.
Okay, you're saying that we should worship a rock. And that's what that brother's saying? What is Allah?
All right.
What is that? And matter of fact, what is his laws? Where is his laws? What is his mind like? Where is his laws that tell you how you're supposed to treat your brother? And where is his history? Where is the history that that Allah gave you concerning why you end up in slavery? Why you gonna sit there and worship a God that don't even tell you why your people's in the situation that they in, and don't even care to let you know? He's the Arab God, right? And then if Allah is so righteous, right? Why didn't he carry out wrath upon the Arabs that was chopping our genitals off and making our women into whores inside them harems and doing all types of atrocious stuff to us? Why didn't he do anything to them? And what does his book have to say about those actions? Because in order for him to be the true God, he has to be just, right? He has to be that.
Right.
So he has to do something about it. Inform me of what he's going to do about that. Because I can tell you about what our God is going to do to everybody that's done anything to us. So what is yours going to do?
Right. Somebody else said, the truth sprung from Yah, the Creator. Rodriguez Houston or Jake.
Okay. Hasn't the Most High always worked through men? He's always worked through men from Genesis to Revelations.
Right.
He's just not doing something mystically and spooky and not setting up no order, because if he did it like that, then how would the kingdom of heaven be a kingdom then?
Right.
You got to have a rank order in a kingdom. And like I talked about before, everything has to be authorized by the king. Even what I was just reading right here, the Most High still went in order. What did he do? He dealt with the king and the leaders. He dealt with Ahasuerus and Mordecai. So how can you just sit there and say, it has to be spread through somebody? You see what I'm saying? The Most High uses men. He didn't create us not to use us. That's stupid. That's like you building a car, but you like, I'm not going to use it for nothing. I'm not going to drive it. I'm not going to put it in any auto shows. I'm not going to do anything with it. I'm just going to just build it just for no reason. That's dumb right there. And the Most High is not dumb. He uses everything that he creates. Of course, first and foremost, man.
Right. And if I could, you saying Yah, the Creator, the Most High name isn't Yah.
Right.
That's like a pseudo thing that's going on now around a lot, but that's not his name. You got to come to our classes and get his real name, because you run around saying Yah, that's not his name.
Right. And with that, just like what the captain was bringing out, you got to learn from the I.S.U.P.K. You got to learn from where the truth comes out of.
And then the same guy who said that Yah, he said men is the head.
Okay, he said men is the head. Okay, so if he said the truth spring out of Yah, and then the men, and now he's saying the men is the head, well, where does the truth come out of? It comes through the men to be spread to other men. It's just as simple as that.
So I can say that last part again?
I was saying the truth comes from the Most High to men to be spread to other men.
Right.
That's what happened with the truth. And when it got to I.S.U.P., and then it came to the 7 heads, and now it's spread out. That's how it's supposed to do. It was published. That's how the Most High always works.
Right. There's a scripture that said, if I could, there's a scripture that talks about that too, where it said, publish the gospel. Right. And that's what we doing here on the live stream. Publishing the gospel, which is what we're supposed to do. Teaching the classes, going on the camps, and recording it. Putting it out there on the web for everybody to see. That's publishing it. This is the truth.
Right.
You understand? Everything else is not the truth.
Right. So that's how the Most High always works. He's just not going. He ain't. I ain't seen the Most High ain't came down to nobody's house and been like, look, this is the truth, and then start breaking down the scriptures to them. Anybody ever had that experience? Then let us know about it.
Right. All right. Because if something like that did happen to him, okay, where you at? You should be out there gathering the people, organizing the people under Christ.
Right.
You understand?
Right. Exactly. So pretty much saying that the Most High came and taught you, and you couldn't spread that to nobody.
Right.
It doesn't even make any sense right there. Any more questions, sir?
Nope. It's pretty.
Okay.
None right now. Well, one person said one long comment.
Okay.
He said, so why in Revelation they're considered the fake Jews in the synagogue? All those other tribes have a nationality with a name and a flag. We're the only tribe who doesn't. That's why I was insinuating we are the real Jews and keep asking the same question. Because Jewish people faith is they're the chosen people and went through those curses.
Okay. As a matter of fact, we're going to go to that scripture.
And it said, and those 11 other tribes are their brothers, so they will be saying they're the tribe of Judah and not us.
Okay. What is that? Revelations,
3 and 9, I believe.
Cover cut.
Start there, start around there.
Cover cut.
I believe it's 2 and 9 and 3 and 9.
Cover cut. Okay.
Around that way.
Okay. Yeah, the 2 and 9. We started there.
Cool.
All right.
I can read it.
Oh, cover.
Revelations 2 and 9. And I know thy works and tribulation and poverty.
Now, said he knows our works, tribulations, and poverty. Right? We was in the same situation back then because what did they want to do? They did, of course, disenfranchise the people that's out there speaking the truth. Go ahead, Cap.
But thou art rich, and I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews, and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan.
Now, how many of the other 11 tribes, even go to the synagogues that run the synagogues, right? Because when it talks about they are the synagogue of Satan, these are the leaders of the synagogues. You have a Hispanic man that's in, some Jewish temple. He's there as a servant. He's not a leader of the thing. He's not somebody that's of that, that stock in that family. So along with his question, is he trying to say that the other 11, pretty much trying to say that, the way that I'm looking at it, it's like he's trying to say that the other 11 are the synagogue of Satan, and the tribe of Judah is the only Jews. That's what it kind of seems like.
I can't tell. He said, have a nationality with a name and a flag. We're the only tribe who doesn't. That's why I was insinuating we are the real Jews and keep asking the same question. Because Jewish people faith is they're the chosen people and went through those curses. But I'm going to say one thing. Those Jewish people ain't go on those slave ships.
All right.
So I don't know what curses they they went on the slave ships. They didn't go on those slave ships.
Right.
All right, but and he said in those 11 other tribes are their brothers. So they will be sent.
All right, so he's saying that the 11 tribes, what I thought he was trying to say. He's saying that the 11 tribes are the Jewish man's brothers.
I know you might just have to drop the exact truth on it so he'll know exactly what it is. And
right.
Be no confusion.
Which I don't understand that at all. That's what it seems like to me. I mean, I could be wrong, but it just seems like hatred of the 11 tribes. That's just all it seems like. When he's trying to equate them to the Jewish people. You know what I'm saying? And really trying to, that whole doctrine of, saying that, only the blacks, are the Jews and all of that. And the whole, nation is only just the African Americans. That's what it just seems like, that whole doctrine right there, which seems like he's, kind of trying to be a little tricky with it. But I'm going to read on.
Right.
Fear none of those things. I'm going to shut all of that whole concept of the other 11 tribes of the Hispanics and everything being part of the synagogue of Satan and being part of the fake Jews and all that, right? Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison. How many Hispanics is casting blacks into prison?
Right.
This is killing that right there. How many Hispanics that are controlling laws. And don't tell me no Spaniards or no Portuguese. Those are white men.
Right.
Those are not Hispanics. Those are white men, because the Hispanics were enslaved. You know, they weren't always speaking Spanish. They were enslaved and conquered over just like we were.
Right.
You know. So I'm gonna read that part again. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Now think about it. These are people that have the ability, that's passing laws, that can pass, you know, all types of things, just to call people terrorists and all that. Are Hispanics doing that? Are Mexicans doing that? Mexicans are on the terrorist list.
Right.
They being deported themselves. So
Right.
how in the hell could they actually be the brothers of this people that is talking about here in Revelations? They can't. They're being done like this. They're being put into detention camps and all of that, just for trying to cross the border from Mexico to America, just for something like that. So how are they in league together? And that doesn't make any sense right there.
All right. And I got 2 other questions, but they're off this topic, if you want them.
Come.
All right. First one, Eleazar Guevara said, am I not mistaken? Didn't every so-called religion stem from our culture and heritage?
No, it did not. You mean to tell me Satanism stemmed off our culture and heritage? No. Blood drinking,
Right.
you know, religions where they drink the blood, that did not stem, none of that stemmed off of our culture. You know, we took on those things. You know, just like we took on Christianity. You see Christianity today, you swear up and down, it's always been a black religion.
Right. Right.
You swear up and down. You see, you know, us inside the Christian church, you know, and inside Catholicism and all that, you know, look like we've always done it. In Islam, it look like we've always done it. Because hell, we take on the false religions and we do it better than they do it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it almost, you know, in this unnatural state, it almost makes it look natural because we've been doing it for so long. You see what I'm saying?
The other question was Rodriguez Houston. He said, so Yeshua isn't his name?
Okay, for one thing, there's no who in the Hebrew language.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Who, that's white people. Who is white? You see what I'm saying? That's why people got to get into Lashwan Kodash classes.
Right.
You know, that's why the alphabet, the ba, ga, da, you know, there was no who sound. You see what I'm saying? We didn't make that. It's Yahawashai, you know, not Yeshua and all of that, you know. That is Yiddish. That's Germanic, you know, that comes from white people. It doesn't come from us. That's a bastardized version, you know, of our language. We got to get back our own language. You know, it said there's also a scripture that says that he will return unto the people a pure language.
Right.
All the Yahuwahs and all of that stuff is going to be out of the language.
Right. Right.
All right. Any more questions, sir?
One person just had a comment. He said they owned the slave ships. I think he's talking about the Jewish. Yeah.
Right. Yes. They, you know, they. I mean, here's the thing too. They were, you know, the whole world was in on it. And that's one thing that we got to understand too. The whole world was in on that. You know what I'm saying? Slave trade. You know what I'm saying? Slave trade was like the drug trade today. Everybody wanted it.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? Every country wanted it. Every country wanted a part in it. You had the people that made the ships, like, you know, the Mercedes-Benz company, all of these, you know, companies like that. A lot of those got their start off making slave ships.
Right.
The first Benz was actually a slave ship.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The first Mercedes, that's how they got so, you know, so big and everything. The whole world was in on it, you know, and they, you know, they pretty much were at the top and dominated it. You know, but everything was on levels, just like things are today. You know, you have the 10 most powerful countries today, right? You have 10 most powerful countries, and everybody's at a different level, right? But everybody's, you know, fighting over position. That's one of the reasons why World War III is going to crack off so tough, because everybody's going to be fighting for the #1 spot. Everybody that were Confederates against it. I mean, hell, look at it. You know, the Arabs were, you know, very high up in it too. But now the Arab and the white man are going at it, you know, hardcore. Because everybody that went into a confederacy to destroy the Lord's people, the Lord turned them all against each other. You see what I'm saying? And they all start to fight against each other. You know, they were at the top of the slave trade, no doubt. But understand something. Don't cling on to Africa because of that. You see what I'm saying? Don't cling on to Africa because the Jewish man was at the top of the slave trade. And the white people was at the top of the slave trade. The Africans were in on it too. Right. We are supposed to be separate from every other nation. We should not be wearing a dashiki. You know what I'm saying? We should not be wearing a kufi. We should not be wearing a yarmulke.
Right.
We're not supposed to go into league with no other nation. Because I notice a lot of people doing that. Kevin, you notice that also?
What? Yeah.
A lot of people, what they actually do is, they'll say, yeah, the Jewish man, yeah, he was at the top of the slave trade. So they start to worship Africa. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, we're going to have to understand that all heathens are our enemies. Or they'll go into Buddhism. Because you know, surely, you know, well, the white man did us wrong, but Chinese man, you know, we can be cool with him.
Right,
you know,
right.
And, you know, the Arab man. That's one thing that pushed people into these fake religions and everything, because they only looking at what the white man did in slavery, but they're not looking at what the others did too. So we go from Christianity to Islam. We go from Christianity to Buddhism, or some type of, you know, clicking African religion,
right,
or some crazy stuff. You know, we go into that. They're all our enemies. It's just that the white man and that Jewish man are the worst.
Somebody, one other question, one comment. You want the question or the comment first?
I'll take the comment first.
Eleazar Guevara said, okay, so they use our literature, he's writing it from YouTube, so they use our literature to propagate their misinformed ideology. I guess what I'm getting at is, why are they incorporating our literature and their heathenism? Well, this is the reason why. Because every lie has to have some truth in it. They have to, you know, that's why we say we're the salt of the earth. That's why the scriptures say that. They have to have something, you know, every strong lie has to have truth in it to make a good solid lie. It has to. It has to have some truth in it. Right. Go back to the Garden of Eden. There was some truth in what the serpent actually said. The Lord did say we could eat of all the trees, right? But he did say at the same time that we're not supposed to eat of the tree that's in the midst of the garden. He did say that. All right. You see, and that's the part that, you know what I'm saying, that's where things get tricky. Right. You know, so they have to have some of us and our spirit and our allegiance and our love in order for them to even survive. Right. In order for them to survive and thrive, you look at, as a matter of fact, look at the countries, the white countries that are in like Eastern Europe that had the least amount of black slaves. Look what conditions they're in. They're in lower conditions because they had the least of us. You know, like, you know, the ones that are like America and all the ones that are high up and all of that, they the ones that had the most part of us. Right. You know, and that's how that thing works. Right. The last question, the question was, so what about J? Was it in the Hebrew alphabet? Because that's it. That was the question.
He said, was J in the Hebrew alphabet? Okay, let me ask a question. Let me answer a question with a question. Can you make a J sound? Whatever sound a person can actually make, there had to be something to kind of represent it, you know? Like if it was a J, you know what I'm saying? There had to, you know, but even with that, I mean, you know, the languages and everything that we speak nowadays, that's the reason why, the Bible is translated into so many different languages.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? The Bible is translated into different, languages, Spanish and stuff like that. So we really shouldn't be tripping on whether the J was in the Hebrew language or not. Because that's not even a really weighty matter like that. That's like a nitpicking matter. And if that's the case, then you got to stop calling people. You got a friend named Jason, you got to call him something else.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? We make the J sound.
Right.
So there had to be some letter or something, in order to represent that.
Right. No.
Because if that's the case, we can't say juice. You know what I'm saying? If you got a buddy named Jerome, you can't call him that. You know what I'm saying?
Right. He said, because, and then he said another comment was, because they did eat from it, we was put in captivity. And then he said a curse. So I guess he's like commenting about things you're saying.
Okay. And that eating from it represents us taking on the philosophy of every other nation. Us taking on their philosophies, their religions, and all of that. That is the eating of the tree. Because there's certain things that the Most High didn't want us to know, because those things would hurt us. Now we see what's up now. When you know what I'm saying, dudes are never supposed to learn things like how to cook dope.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? People were never supposed to learn how to take the poppy plant and the coca leaf and all of that and how to make cocaine out of it. You see what I'm saying? That stuff is byproducts of eating from the tree. You see what I'm saying? There's certain things in the world that we were never supposed to know.
Somebody saying on YouTube, Obed Israel saying, might have to get the Lashwan Padash out that's over there. He says, just say you don't know what letter in the Hebrew represents the J sound, because he got a point on you. Jeremiah, how you spell his name? See, because you using English letters to express Hebrew language back.
Okay, well, I never said nothing against the English language, did I? I never said nothing against the English language. Obviously, he did. Because that's where that whole doctrine comes from, of the old J and all of that. You see, we're not, we shouldn't, because it never was an original language, and it never was this and that. You were the one that got the problem with it. I understand that the Bible was translated into other languages. I'm comfortable with that. We use the English language just like we, use everything else.
Right.
Just like the Hispanic brothers use Spanish to spread the truth also. Down in South America and all that. We got brothers that do classes in Spanish. You see what I'm saying? You got to think about the weightier matters. You can't get caught up on something as simple as the J or whatever. Use the tools that's given to you.
Right.
Let me give you an example. Didn't Judas Maccabeus use Apollonius' sword? Yeah, he did. Was that sword crafted by Apollonius? Yeah, it was. He used that sword, he slew him and used that sword and fought with that sword for the rest of his life. So take what your enemies give you and use it against them. That's warfare.
Right.
The English language was imposed upon us, fine, no problem. Now how are we using it today? We're coming to the truth by it. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
That's right.
Then Dexter Hoskins said, why substituted J? He just put that as a comment.
Why substituted J?
Why substituted J?
Okay, I don't even know what he's asking with that.
Now he's just making a comment.
Okay.
He's saying like he was saying Jeremiah. Oh, that means it's J and everything's wrong because the J.
Right.
His name Jeremiah in Hebrew would be Yaremiyah. Right. So he's saying basically like the Y is in place of the J, like in the ancient Hebrew.
Right.
Which it's like I said, it's neither here nor there, but it became a big issue now. Like how Christ said, we strain at a gnat. But we avoid and miss the weightier matters of the law, judgment, righteousness. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Perfect precept, perfect scripture right there, sir. That's perfect. We gotta think more on the lines of that. We can't get caught up in little things that, I got a question for him. What's the fruitfulness in what it is that he's bringing out? How are we gonna get off drugs by knowing that? You know what I'm saying? How we gonna get off dope? How are we gonna go from the bottom to the top off knowing that? We won't. We take the J out of our language, and that's gonna, that's the kingdom of heaven is coming on because of that. We gotta stop looking at silly little things, because see, here's the thing, because these fake Israelite groups will they'll teach us that, they'll say to us, like, it ain't teaching us nothing, but what they'll say to us is, they'll say, see, y'all causing division. Y'all cause us to divide. When we saying the white man is the devil. That is a very weighty matter. Right. That's where we get all the fake religions and all of that from. But then they'll use something as simple as the J to divide themselves from another brother, and they won't even come together, because of that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You saying J?
Right.
How dare you? How dare you say J? Yeah, and we'll split. They're splitting because of that. You know what I'm saying? You see how stupid that is? That is dumb. That is slow stuff right there. And as a matter of fact, the truth been out since 1969. If a nigga can't advance past a goddamn J, goddamn, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Really though. They sitting there sopping up all of this knowledge. From YouTube and all of that, everything that's pushed by the I.S.U.P.K, regardless of how they're getting it, you know what I'm saying? They're feeding on it, becoming fat, and not doing anything, and will not congregate with the next, will not even come together with the next brother just because he say J. You know what I'm saying? One dude is saying Jesus, and the other dude is saying Yeshua. No, nigga, you wrong. We got it. No, we can't come together. You know what I'm saying? Because you saying Jesus.
Right, and if I could, Esau and Ham, they're using the J all day and sitting in Jerusalem.
Right, exactly.
And Yarushalayim.
Right.
Using the J all day.
Right. And it's awfully funny because these same people, when you look at their Facebook profiles, and they'll say where they from, they'll say Jerusalem, but they don't say the J though. That's what they'll say. They'll have it in the writing, you know what I'm saying, Jerusalem, from Jerusalem, Israel, but they'll have a J there. But you better not say it. You better not say J. Or we two different races of people if you do.
Right.
Man.
And
good night.
The other brother's saying he's saying off the caption, he said something about why they are Jews, and I'm saying we are Jews. That's what a Jew is, a person who went through that curse. And brother, they 11 other tribes, we're letting where our title is my belief, and the caption's not lining up with my belief is what I'm saying. I want to know why letting them have that title by defending it, basically, by explaining how they got it.
All right. You're talking about the other 11 tribes, right?
And we because the title of the video was how Esau and Ham became Jews.
Okay.
Basically going in the history of how now they're Jews now. You go over to Israel and you got the Ethiopian Jews and the white man Jews.
So he's asking the question of why are we letting them have it? Is that what he's asking?
Basically, I guess in the title, he's saying why we let him have it in the title.
Well, here's the thing. You can't start, we got freedom of speech, right? So people can call themselves a Jew. What can we do about it?
Right.
What would it be expedient for us to, bash somebody over the head because they're saying that they're a Jew? No. You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't be expedient for us to do that.
Right.
You can't stop somebody, from what they're saying. You want to call himself a Jew, fine. You can call yourself that. But we know who the real ones are. And we will tell you that you're a liar. Guess what we can do. We can tell him he's a liar, which we do all the time.
That's right.
So,
And if I could, we're not only going to say you're not the real Jews and we are the real Jews, we're going to live it. like the
Right.
scripture says. Love not in word, but in action and deed.
Right.
So we're going to
That's
live
right.
as the real Jews,
Right.
having our Sabbath services, keeping the law, statute, commandments,
Right.
following the righteous ways of the Most High, keeping the Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread. We're going to do all that, and you can call yourself, you can say we're not the Jews all day.
Right.
But what if all black people start following the UPK and keeping the law, statute, commandments?
Right.
That's
Right.
right.
It wouldn't matter what they say, because what we doing is so powerful.
Right. And then here's the thing. It don't do no good to try and force them to say that they're not the Jews when we rise up as the Jews inside the ISUPK. They're going to start to admit that they're not the Jews themselves.
Right.
Because they can't hold on to the lie anymore. You know what I'm saying? Hell, lies get slippery after a while. Where people can't hold on to them anymore. So we let that happen. You know what I'm saying? We let that happen right there. To where they, well, we know, I know that I'm an Edomite, and you know what I'm saying? So they say they know they're Edomite, and they know they're not a Jew. So bam. You know what I'm saying? The Most High handled that thing. Yeah, we just keep rocking on inside the ISUPK and keep gathering the brothers and sisters inside the truth.
Right.
And saving lives and getting people off drugs. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
And then getting them out of the clutches of their enemies. You know what I'm saying? That's the weightier matter right there.
Right,
Instead of worried about a goddamn J. You know what I'm saying?
Time check, only 15 minutes left.
Cut.
A little less than 15 minutes. No more comments right now. Somebody just said, a person with an Egyptian pharaoh Facebook picture said Edomites as a comment.
Okay. He needs to elaborate. What he calling us the Edomites? Or
I don't know, but
He
he got an
just said put on there,
Egyptian. He got an
just-
Egyptian mummy like casket as his Facebook profile picture. So you need to worry about Edomites is bad, but so is Ham.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, and the Ham is running around calling themselves the Jews. You know, they doing the same thing. The whole world is in on this. They going down into Africa and going to all over into Asia and saying, look, this is the tribe of Manasseh. They went on to a bunch of Asians and said that they the tribe of Manasseh.
All right.
And then to go here to the one place in Africa, they say, see, these are the Levites, because they still do the animal sacrifice, because they play on how dumb people are, you know, because anytime you slay an animal, it is actually a sacrifice, you know what I'm saying? Whether it's for food or whatever the case is, you know what I'm saying?
And then another ploy, the white man got two main ploys that he's employing right now, like under current ploys. He's changing words in the dictionary, like newer dictionaries on the internet. It'll tell you, Esau is an Arab and things like that. And then the second thing he's doing is he put out little DNA studies and say, these people are linked to the real ancient Israelites, to the
Right.
ancient Jews.
Right.
These people over here got the same DNA. They're actually related to the Jews.
Right.
So
They
it's
sure do
two
that.
lies that he's doing. You can break those down.
Right, okay. And then, okay, what are they saying? They saying, oh, because, see, they're Jewish because they have the Y chromosome. Everybody has X and Y chromosomes.
Right.
Everybody has that. You get 13 from your mother and 13 from your father. In a total of 26, you know what I'm saying, the X and Y chromosomes. So they say, well, this one has a Y chromosome. That, you know what I'm saying? Well, you got many of them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
How they identify you as a Jew?
Right. And they play on people's ignorance of that subject, because just a while ago they were saying people were 98% chimps. We had this 98% DNA of chimps and apes.
Right. It sure was saying that.
So how the hell, so don't matter, because that means the chimps, the apes is related to the Jews too.
Right,
They 98%.
exactly.
Well, they 98% DNA of the Jews.
Yeah, they got the Y chromosomes.
Right.
Right. Yeah, so it changes every so many years. There's a new thing, and after a while, as a matter of fact, just some years back, about 6 years ago, when they had to start having a problem with the Palestinians, they were saying the Palestinians was Amalek. And using that scripture when it said, put Amalek out from under heaven. But
Right.
now you ain't hearing about that no more, right?
Right.
Because they done went in there and they did their damage, so now you don't hear nothing about it,
We got some comments. Somebody said false, LOL. Then he said talk about haplotype, HAPLOTYPE, about blood haplotype. Talk about blood haplotype.
The hell is that? They just be making up stuff, just, you know what I'm saying?
I'm going to go to Google Chrome real quick and look it up and pull it out.
Go to God.
Haplotype, HPLOTYPE. Haplotype. A haplotype is a group of alleles in an organism that are inherited together from a single parent. However, there are other uses for this term. So basically, if somebody basically come from the same family tree,
okay,
from a single parent, like how we all come from, how black people, Arabs, and Esau come from Abraham.
Here's the funny thing, though, because when they do that, right?
Right.
You know, they do the DNA tests and all of that. They're always linking somebody back to some land, or maybe some tribe, but never to a man. Why not? Why ain't they saying that this man, this 100-year-old man, is the father of, you know what I'm saying, such and such? Yeah, and as a matter of fact, when it comes to that type of science, why can't they tell them, you know, why can't they say that, you know, they know that I come from Kentucky or something?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You know, it's got to be, you know, some way. They can't even tell you where. I'm 44. They can't tell you where I come from 44 years ago. But yeah, somehow they can tell me I come from 444 years ago.
Right.
You know, something seems kind of off there.
Right. They can't take a DNA test of, like you said, an old man and say all your kids are over there.
Right.
All your kids are over there in San Francisco.
Right.
Because we took your DNA, and your DNA matches with all your kids you got because you was a Rolling Stone. They over there in San Francisco.
Right. They ain't doing none of that.
But they can take us and say we're the kids of somebody 1,000 years ago.
Right. Some Igbo somewhere, you know, your robots or something like that. When you look at them, they ain't got no link or connection with you at all. You know what I'm saying? And those families, their families are tight knit. You know, them African families and all of that. You know, as a matter of fact, if that's the case, then why ain't none of us owning any stores and all of that? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because they take care of their own, their family. They take care of them. Hell, even that damn that Nipsey Hussle. You know, even though his mama was a Negro, you know, he was still rose up into the rap scene. You know what I'm saying? And still had he had a store.
Right.
You know, just like what the Ethiopians do. You know, Ethiopians and Eritreans and all of that got stores. He had one, just like them.
Pull the scripture. I'm gonna pull that scripture where it said the Lord, the Most High, separated. You know what I mean? Hold on 1 second. You got the Bible? Go to Deuteronomy 32:8. This lets you know all about the DNA. It don't matter about, you know, if you do have the same whatnot. You can go ahead and break this one down, Tarot. This is a good one.
Okay. What is it, sir?
Deuteronomy 32:8.
Color.
Let's get what the Bible says about it. Right.
Deuteronomy 32:8.
Louder. Bible show. Man, somebody put a long, super long ass comment taking up the whole damn page.
Somebody in their feelings.
Come.
Go ahead.
The book of Deuteronomy 32:8. When the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam.
He separated the sons of Adam. That's
right.
what the Most High did. Go ahead.
Come. He set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel.
The Most High divided everybody. set everybody and gave everybody an inheritance, and didn't, the Most High didn't want everybody to mingle together and all that. That's how the Most High did it.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? He divided everybody, separated everybody is separated according to family.
Right.
Everybody is. Was there anything you want to say on that, sir?
Nah, you broke it down. You broke it down perfectly. So the dude with the Egyptian Facebook picture said the brown race were first in existence, and he said, "No, I am agreeing with you," because he was saying like the black man is God, and then he put like a whole bunch of scriptures. But he's saying he's agreeing with us.
Let's read that part again for this brother right here. Something inside of it he might not be understanding. Let's bring that out again.
Khan, the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32, verse 8. When the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance.
These people were brown. These people were brown too. You say the brown race. There's no brown race. There's no such thing as that. A Mexican and an Arab are not the same.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? A Eritrean and whatever, and a Nigerian, they're not the same.
Right.
The Most High made us all different nations. He gave man hue and everything. So there's no just human race. That's garbage right there. There's no brown race. That's not how race is determined.
Right.
Well,
Khan, when he separated the sons of Adam.
It said he did what to them?
Separated the sons of Adam.
He separated the sons of Adam and made them all different races, even though they were brown.
Right. And if I could get Exodus 11:7, this is a good scripture for him too, because he got that Pharaoh picture. You know what I'm saying? So he's trying to agree with us, but he got a picture of our old slave masters.
Right.
So I'm gonna get Exodus 11:7, and you can break that one down.
Khan. The book of Exodus, chapter 11, verse 7. But again, any of the children of Israel shall not a dog move his tongue against man or beast. That ye.
It said the children of who, though? Say that again. It said against the children of who?
But against any of the children of Israel.
The children of Egypt?
Israel.
The children of the Philistines.
Of
brown
Israel.
People too. How about the Ishmaelites?
Of Israel.
They were all brown people.
Right.
They were all brown. You see what I'm saying? And we this is one thing. When we come into this knowledge and everything, we can't put ourselves in positions to where we're going to sound dumb.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Not saying that the brother, I understand that the brother just don't know and everything, right? But we can't put ourselves in position, that's like saying, I got two legs just like you. We're the same. We're all the same. Everybody that has two legs is the same. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
No, that's, we can't, I have nappy hair. You have nappy hair. He got nappy hair. Wouldn't you like to have nappy hair too?
Right.
We can't be like that. We have to understand that the Most High separated people on the earth according to families. That's why the Ethiopians don't deal with us like that. They're brown too, right?
Right.
Well, why ain't they being brotherly and giving us some of them stores?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We all brown, right? That should be supposed to rule over everything, ain't it?
Right.
That's not how the world works.
And there's some more in this one too.
Cut.
Caesar.
Go ahead, boy.
Khan. Of the children of Israel shall not a dog move his tongue, but against man or beast, that ye may know how that the Lord doth put a difference between the Egyptians and Israel.
Put a what between them?
Put a difference between Egyptians and Israel.
Put a difference between the Egyptians and Israel. Two separate families.
Right.
on the face of the earth. One was the oppressor. One was the oppressed. You see what I'm saying? One was the ruler. The other one was the subject. And if they had children, the oppressors had children, those children were separated to the ruling class.
Right.
And if the oppressed had the children, they were separated to the oppressed class.
Right. And then he said, Africa, everything started in Africa. You can get a Galatians 4:26. That'll cut that.
Cut with
You know what I'm
God.
saying?
Go
And
ahead,
it's
boy.
funny, a person on here says, I'm Saho Eritrean. We ain't the same. You are Bantu. We are Afro-Asiatic like the Israelites.
Wait a minute, what do you okay.
I'll probably just ignore that one. He said he's an Eritrean.
Well, he's a Hamite. That's what he is. He's a heathen. He's not one of us. That's what he need to know.
And he said, and no, you can't get any of them stores. Get yours.
You know what? Yeah, and you know what? We damn sure will get ours. For one thing, we're going to stop supporting yours and run your nasty African ass right back over to where the hell you belong at.
That's right.
That's what's going to happen, because there's a precept for that. Everyone should go into his own people and go into his own land.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's a scripture for your ass. Go ahead and read that and weep.
Right.
You know, you bubblehead people, y'all gonna learn something too. you bubblehead big-eyed bastards, y'all gonna learn some things too. You know what I'm saying? Y'all gonna be going right back to the land of flies and big bellies and goddamn ribs sticking out. That's how y'all gonna be. Y'all gonna be eating flies again.
And that's pretty much the time. This is probably the last scripture.
Cut.
He said, not slave masters. All religions are involved with slavery. We are a spiritual people and not a religious people. Religion was made to conquer and divide black people, the brown race, African people, the first to live on earth.
Okay. I just pretty much cut that just not too long ago. Obviously, people need to start listening.
Right.
All people of the same hue are not the same. The Africans are not the same as each other. They come from different families of Ham. Canaan itself it was 12 nations of people that just come out of Canaan alone.
Right.
Then you got Cush, Put, and Mizraim too. You see what I'm saying? They're not even the same. And when they actually unify, they'll unify against a common enemy. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Especially like against us. Like when we was in Africa, you would have two enemy African tribes fighting each other who was enemy nations. But they see us, and they'll come together for that. Just like here in this land, the Asians and white people will come together to come against us.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? The Africans and white people will come together to come against us because they understand things that our peoples don't understand.
Right.
We are to be separate from everybody. Go ahead, read that scripture, boy.
Khan. Book of Galatians, chapter 4, verse 6. And because ye are sons, God hath sent forward.
4:26, Galatians 4:26.
Salaki.
How you feel?
Book of Galatians, chapter 4, verse 26. But Jerusalem, which is above, is free, which is the mother of us all.
Which is the what?
Mother of us all.
Where is Jerusalem at? Jerusalem is in the center of the earth. Right?
Right.
Jerusalem is in the center of the earth, and that means everything have to go like this. When you go all the way back to Genesis, right? The water, you know what I'm saying, was at the center of the earth. You know what I'm saying? The water was there, right? So people had to be where the water was at. Africa, you would have to go all the way down. The rivers had to split and went down there yet. So why the hell would people? What would they drink? If culture started, if civilization started in Africa, what would they be drinking? Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. They wouldn't have no water because it takes time for rivers to split and go down like that. You know what I'm saying? Jerusalem, the land of Jerusalem and all of that is one that had the water and all the resources. So that's where men started at. It's just that damn simple. It's common sense. You know, you ain't who's gonna hang out a place that ain't no water at? You can't, you're gonna die. You know what I'm saying? You're going to die. So that means wherever the water started at on the earth is where man was at.
Right.
Just that simple. And where was the water at? In the center of the earth. We are the I.S.U.P.K. coming out of 1 West on the 25th Street, Harlem, New York. At the Commander General Yohanna. Pay your tithes, pay your offerings, support this truth. Do whatever you can to support this truth going forth all over the face of the planet. And with that being said, we're going to go into the prayers. Amajim, rise. Upon Hakidam, face the east. Abanawa.
Abanawa.
Bashamayim.
Bashamayim.
Badash.
Badash.
Hayah.
Hayah.
Shemka.
Shemka.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Malakaka.
Malakaka.
Naba'ah.
Naba'ah.
Batazaka.
Batazaka.
Hayah.
Hayah.
Aisha.
I.S.U.P.K.
Baharataza.
Baharataza.
Kawa.
Kawa.
Hayah.
Hayah.
Bashamayim.
Bashamayim.
The thunder now.
The thunder now.
Lakam.
Lakam.
Call.
Call.
Yawam.
Yawam.
Wasalak now.
Wasalak now.
Kabawaki now.
Kabawaki now.
Wasalak now.
Kasalak now.
Kabawaki now.
Kabawaki now.
Wala'ah.
Wala'ah.
Tabaya now.
Tabaya now.
Banasai 1.
Banasai 1.
Abal.
Abal.
Awashai now.
Awashai now.
Mayan.
Mayan.
Rai.
Rai.
Kaya.
Kaya.
Laka.
Laka.
Amalakwa.
Amalakwa.
Wa'ala.
Wa'ala.
Wa'atapar.
Wa'atapar.
Lawalayim.
Lawalayim.
Aman.
Aman. If you could move to the left a little bit, move that chair, stand where that chair is at.
Our Father,
Our Father,
which art in heaven,
which art in heaven,
hallowed be thy name.
Hallowed be thy name.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy will be done.
Thy will be done.
In earth.
As
it is in heaven.
As it is in heaven.
Give us this day.
Give us this day.
Our daily bread.
Our daily bread.
And forgive us of our debts.
And forgive us of our debts.
As we forgive our debtors.
As we forgive our debtors.
And lead us not into temptation.
And lead us not into temptation.
But deliver us from evil.
But deliver us from evil.
For thine is the kingdom.
For thine is the kingdom.
And the power.
And the power.
And the glory.
And the glory.
Forever.
Forever.
So be it.
So be it.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Ba'ashem Yahushua.
Ba'ashem Yahushua.
Baba Kashah.
Baba Kashah.
The thunder now.
The thunder now.
Hakak.
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 Larpa'ah.
Larpa'ah.
Call Maka'ala.
Call Maka'ala.
Call Marawa.
Call Marawa.
Hakak.
Hakak.
Latahar.
Latahar.
Hamatazariah.
Hamatazariah.
Hakak.
Hakak.
Lahakwim.
Lahakwim.
Lamathim.
Hamathium.
Hakak.
Hakak.
Arakawa.
Arakawa.
Hataba'ala.
Hataba'ala.
The Garshah.
The Garshah.
Ba'ashem Yahushua.
Ba'ashem Yahushua.
The water Amman.
The water Amman.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahushua.
In the name of Yahushua.
Please give us the power.
Please give us the power.
The power to heal.
The power to heal.
All manner of sickness.
All manner of sickness.
And all manner of disease.
And all manner of disease.
The power to cleanse the leper.
The power to cleanse the lepers.
The power to raise the dead.
The power to raise the dead.
The power against unclean spirits.
The power against unclean spirits.
To cast them out.
To cast them out.
In the name of Yahushua.
In the name of Yahushua.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So be it.
So be it.
Barakatah Yahweh.
Barakatah Yahweh.
Why Yahushua.
Why Yahushua.
Why Maka'ala.
Why Maka'ala.
Why Walahayim.
Walahayim.
Matazaba'ah.
Matazaba'ah.
Alawat Yohanna.
Alawat Yohanna.
Halawatiyim.
Halawatiyim.
Asarayim.
Asarayim.
Hakatazayayim.
Hakatazayayim.
Hakayayim.
Hakayayim.
Wa'akwatiyim.
Wa'akwatiyim.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Ba'ashem Yahushua.
Ba'ashem Yahushua.
The water Amman.
The water Amman.
Bless you, Yahweh.
Bless you, Yahweh.
And Yahushua.
And Yahushua.
And Michael.
And Michael.
And the angels.
And the angels.
Commander General Yohanna.
Commander General Yohanna.
Generals.
The generals.
Captains.
The captains.
The officers.
The officers.
Troopers.
The troopers.
And the sisters.
And the sisters.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahushua.
In the name of Yahushua.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So be it.
So be it.
Yabarakah.
Yabarakah.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Why Wayashmarka.
Wayashmarka.
Yahar.
Yahar.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Penyawa.
Penyawa.
Ayaka.
Ayaka.
Wayakanka.
Wayakanka.
Yasha'a.
Yasha'a.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Penyawa.
Penyawa.
Ayaka.
Ayaka.
Wayasham.
Wayasham.
Laka.
Laka.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Wayashim Yahushai.
Wayashim Yahushai.
Barak.
Barak.
Rapah.
Rapah.
Magun.
Magun.
Hagun.
Hagun.
The Thurman family.
Thurman family.
Thurman family.
The Sutton family.
Sutton family.
The Hill family.
Hill family.
All destroyed of Israel.
All destroyed Israel.
Done.
The Hall family.
The Hall family.
Cook family.
Cook family.
Todd family.
Todd family.
Puckett family.
Puckett family.
And all destroyed of Israel.
And all destroyed of Israel.
Done.
Raglan family.
Raglan family.
Barlow family.
Barlow family.
Arya family.
Arya family.
And all destroyed of Israel.
And all destroyed of Israel.
Done.
Done.
Ba'ashim Yahushai.
Ba'ashim Yahushai.
The water Aman.
The water Aman.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Bless thee and keep thee.
Bless thee and keep thee.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Make his face shine upon thee.
Make his face shine upon
And be
thee.
gracious unto thee.
And be gracious unto thee.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Lift up his countenance upon thee.
Lift up his countenance upon thee.
And give thee peace.
And give thee peace.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahushai.
In the name of Yahushai.
Bless.
Bless.
Heal.
Heal.
Shield.
Shield.
Protect.
Protect.
Names of the lovers we just named.
The names
The
of
name of
lovers
lovers we just named.
Blessed are you, Yahweh.
Blessed are you, Yahweh.
King of heaven and earth.
King of heaven and earth.
And all things living.
And all things living.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahushai.
In the name of Yahushai.
Listen to us now.
Listen to us now.
Right now.
Right now.
Send evils and curses.
Send evils and curses.
And punishment and destruction.
And punishment and destruction.
And death.
And death.
To the heathen.
To the heathen.
Speak against us.
That speak against
Thy
us.
prophets.
Our
Thy
prophets.
Teachers.
The teachers.
Princes.
The princes.
Priests.
The priests.
The Israelite brothers in the school.
The Israelite brothers in the schools.
And evils and curses.
Send evils and curses.
And punishment and destruction.
And punishment and destruction.
And death to the heathen.
And death to the heathen.
And shake loose the pockets
And shake loose the pockets
of the rich of Israel.
Of the rich of Israel.
That refuse to give to the school.
that refuse to give to the school.
Force their riches.
Force their riches.
To enter to thy sanctuary.
To enter
Enter to thy sanctuary.
Send evils and curses.
Send evils and
And
curses.
punishment and destruction.
And punishment and destruction.
And death to the Edomites.
And death to the Edomites.
And the nations.
And the nations.
And the drug dealers.
And the drug dealers.
Court system.
Court system.
Prison system.
Prison system.
Planned Parenthood.
Planned Parenthood.
All the governments of our enemies.
All the governments of our enemies.
Amalek synagogues and armies.
Amalek synagogues and armies.
Roman Catholic Church.
Roman Catholic Church.
Pope.
The Pope.
Islam.
Islam.
Christianity.
Christianity.
Egyptology.
Egyptology.
Militia.
Militia.
Ku Klux Klan.
Ku Klux Klan.
Aryan Nation.
Aryan Nation.
Skinheads.
The Skinheads.
Posse Comitazi.
Posse Comitazi.
The gay movement.
The
The
gay
gay
The
movement.
lesbian movement.
The lesbian movement.
Spies.
Spies.
Workers of witchcraft.
Workers of witchcraft.
NASA space program.
NASA space program.
Army.
Army.
Navy.
Navy.
Air Force.
Air Force.
Marines.
Marines.
Wall Street.
Wall Street.
Open up the internet.
Open up the internet.
And the airwaves.
And the airways.
Cable access channels.
The cable access channels.
And the radio channels.
And the radio channels.
Convict the spirit
Convict the spirit
of any of thy people
of any of thy
that
people
seek to stop us.
that seek to stop
And
us.
bring swift death
And bring swift death
to all the heathen
to all the
that
heathen
stand in the way
that stand in the way
or try and stop us
or try to stop us
from broadcasting your words
For broadcasting your
throughout
words
the planet Earth.
throughout the planet Earth.
Let loose all the terrorists.
Let loose all the terrorists.
Cause them to go
Cause them to go
to and fro
to and fro
through the earth
through the earth
and destroy.
and destroy.
Cause the terrorists
Cause the terrorists
to come against America
to come against America
and destroy them
and destroy
in
them
their stronghold.
in their strongholds.
Let America shake
Let America shake
at the hands of the terrorists.
at the hands of the terrorists.
May Yahushua,
May Yahushua,
Michael, Gabriel,
Gabriel,
come down with the flying saucer
come down with the flying
and
saucers
kill all the heathen
and kill all the
that
heathen
come up against us
They come up against us
as we speak thy word.
as we speak thy word.
Cause it to be known
Cause it to be known
by all
by all
that it is the angels that have done it.
that it is the angels that have done it.
Cause it to be spread
Cause it to be spread
through the media
through
through the media
throughout the whole world.
throughout the whole world.
Cause them to shake at thy coming.
Cause it to shake at thy coming.
In the name of Yahushua,
In the name of Yahushua,
thank you always.
thank you always.
So be it.
So be it.
Sar. Men of Israel, Ahmad Shabbat, Amajib, Barak,
Yahweh Shem Yahushua Barakatham.
Yazbatah, courtesy salute to the sisters, Ahmad Shabbat, Amajib, Barak,
Yahweh
Shem Yahushua Barakatham.
Yazbatah, class dismissed.
Now that was a good class.
We was engaged and the question. I like the question and everything too.
Yeah, because it was a lot of people in the class throughout the class. You know what I mean? Like 11 stuff like that. Our last class got like one of them got like 4,000 people. It reached. It almost got about 1,000 views.
Yeah, that's what we jacking the views up. The engagement, the questions and stuff like that.
Right.
People want to see that, they want to see that back and forth, you know what I'm saying? I got one word.